The following is an encore presentation of stories from the Dooralong Transformation Centre.
That makes it sound very easy, and I'm sure it wasn't. We're talking this morning to Michael, who's done the programme at the Dooralong Transformation Centre, but is now in the aftercare sort of facility called Sealer Farm. But we're going to turn the clocks back, how long would it be? Almost 2 years. Just to briefly remind our listeners who perhaps haven't heard our Dooralong stories before, just what they do at Dooralong. What brought you to Dooralong, Michael? We know that it's for addictions. What were your addictions?
15 months ago, I had a pretty unmanageable life. I needed help. I was on death's doorstep pretty much. Lost everything. I was living in self-doubt all my life. Poly addict, which means I would take any drug that I could get my hands on. Alcohol, gambling, pretty much all of it. And
the drugs, the ice, the everything.
Yep.
Yeah. And when you say you're at death's door, it's one of those phrases that we use a lot, really. But in your case, it was literally true, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was hard to look in the mirror, to look at myself and see the damage that I was doing to my family and people that cared about me. It was just really hard to see.
Yeah. You had tried other rehabs?
Yes, this is my 6th rehab I've done. All the others, I hadn't been successful. I always wanted to leave after 3 months. But really, I think I had a relapse plan all them other times that I went to rehab. But I figured it's life and death, and this time I needed to do something different.
Yeah. For it to be your 6th rehab, suggests that you don't give up very easily.
That's right.
You're not a quitter.
Yeah. It's hard to do, the first bit was hard going to detox, that's probably the hardest. But, I got to Dooralong and I was amazed. And
you were living in Wollongong at this time?
Yeah, Wollongong, yep.
So how does a boy down in Wollongong get to hear about Dooralong?
A friend had told me at a Narcotics Anonymous meeting, and I'd never heard of it before. Heard it was in the Central Coast, out in bushland pretty much. And I got there and I couldn't believe it, like the place.
Okay, so let's move the clock on. You're at Dooralong. How long was it before you graduated from Dooralong?
I did 8 months at Dooralong.
Yeah.
8 months, and I graduated and left and went to another extended care house.
Yeah.
But I've done that for 8 months now. Now I took a role as a caretaker, and I'm probably gonna be there for another 6 to 12 months.
Yeah, and Michael will explain this later. We'll talk about what's happening for him now in this role of caretaker. When he said he was a caretaker, I thought, he's the guy that will fix the house up and clean the gutters out. But no, it's, he takes care of people. It's caretaker rather than caretaker. But we'll get onto that role that Michael is fulfilling later. How long after you got to Dooralong did you realise that this is different than all the previous 5 rehabs that I've been on?
It's just something I needed to do. It's, as I said, it's life and death.
Yeah.
I had to have that little bit of hope.
But there was something different about Dooralong than the previous rehabs?
Yeah. I'm a Christian. It's God that's helped me through this. I tried to do it without him before, and it didn't work. I believe in God now. I didn't really before. I sort of doubted him, but now I've learnt to hand my will over every day. And
so before you got to Dooralong in your earlier life, you were aware of God, you knew of God, God was part of your life?
Yep.
But things weren't working out as you hoped for in your life?
I was praying for the wrong things. Being a bit selfish, and used to blame him for all the bad things that had happened to me in life, but I was responsible for all them bad things that were happening.
Yeah. Did you ever feel like leaving Dooralong?
Oh, many times.
Yeah.
I think that's the most normalest thing in rehab, but there's good days and there's bad days, and when you get through them bad days, you become stronger. And
after how long did you think this actually might work for me?
There was a little bit of self-doubt, but I just, sometimes bad days went for weeks, and I just had to go through. I had to,
And there are people there that you can speak to about those things, aren't there?
Yeah, there's plenty of support workers, other addicts in recovery there that, who were going through the same thing.
So they worked. Oh, what was the phrase that Matt was telling us a few weeks ago when he was here, the program director? He was talking about the holistic approach that they adopt at Dooralong, that they deal with the addictions in a very sort of psychological way. They've got all the professionals there. They've got psychologists, counsellors, drug counsellors, social workers, and alongside that they've got all the other programs, the spiritual programs and all the rest of it.
Spiritual program,
yeah. So did you embrace all those programs? Throw yourself into all of them?
Yeah, pretty much. My caseworker, she helped me out heaps. Pretty good caseworker. Always went to church on the Sundays, chapel Wednesday.
Yeah.
And I just started believing again.
Yeah. What's happening to your family during this time? Because your family had seen you attend 5 rehabs and leave 5 rehabs, and it hadn't worked for you. You were saying that you were literally at death's door. They must have been so worried for you.
Yep.
I mean, it's bad enough for you, but it's almost as bad perhaps for your family members, watching you and knowing that they are helpless.
Yeah, it hurt me, them seeing the lifestyle that I was living. Something needed to happen because,
it couldn't go on.
No.
It
was just...
We'll come to the present in a moment, but just one final question. If you hadn't gone to Dooralong, if this person hadn't mentioned the word and you picked up the phone or somehow got in touch with Dooralong, what do you think would have happened to Michael?
Probably wouldn't be sitting here now on the radio.
Serious. You would have been dead.
Yep.
Yeah. That's the change that God can make in lives, working through the salvos with, them being the...
Deaths, jails, institutions.
That's the future you were looking at.
Yep.
Okay. But on a much more positive note, 7 months ago, you graduated from Dooralong. Actually, you graduated on the day that you had been into Rima and spoken to us.
Yeah.
So this isn't new to you, all this radio malarkey. You're an old hand at it. You came in 7 months ago, and that evening you graduated.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that like?
Got to step out of my comfort zone. So that's when I grow. First thought was to not come in, but that I need to do these things. And
And then that evening, you're up at the front of the chapel.
That's right.
Having to make a speech.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were your mum and dad there? Are they allowed guests?
Not at the moment because of COVID.
Oh, for goodness
my
sake.
parents were working. But they're proud of me. I can tell them how much I change.
Yeah.
But the more action I put in, over time, that's what they realise.
I know it's a cliche, but words are easy, aren't they?
Yeah.
But they have actually seen over almost 2 years now their son slowly improve.
Yeah.
And you were telling me that you've got and you keep looking at things like this, photos of you when you came into Dooralong, and sort of compare it to the Michael that you see now. What's the big difference?
A lot of difference. I put on 25 kilo, looking healthy,
Yeah.
I'm actually eating and sleeping.
So you're
which
just a
is a good
skinny
thing.
sort
Yeah.
of, yeah.
Living in a psychosis, pretty much.
Yeah, and that sort of, what do they call it, pallid complexion that drug takers had, and bad skin, and
Yep.
really, really, really thin, skinny.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can tell the listeners that that's nothing like Michael at the moment. He hasn't, he's not overweight, but he's a healthy weight, and he's looking good, and he's made a terrific change in his life.
Yeah.
We're going to pause for some more music, because since Michael graduated 7 months ago, other things have been happening for him, so we want to bring ourselves up to date. But we're going to this morning who's going to take us on a new journey, because previously when we've spoken to guys from Dooralong, they've been coming up to their graduation, but Michael can tell us what happens once you do graduate. You were telling us earlier, Michael, that it was seven months ago that you managed to graduate from the program.
Yep.
Yeah, what happened to you then?
I had a plan a month before with my caseworker to actually go into extended care.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something I'd been offered before, but I didn't want to. Made a bad choice. Thought I was cured, but this time I knew I had to do something different and have a plan.
Yeah. So it's a sort of a transitional house, a halfway house, whatever you want to call it, that the Salvos have. And it is quite local, I think, isn't it? Whereabouts is it?
Fountaindale?
The one before that you go to, is it Erina?
Was Erina, yeah.
Erina, yeah. How long were you at that transitional house in Erina?
It would have been around 4 months or something.
Yeah. And during that time you were looking for accommodation and employment?
Yeah, my lease was up. It's the first time I've ever applied for a place to live. Actually looked at a rental, and it was pretty hard. I got knocked back 20 times, so I had no rental history, and there's just not much going around because of COVID at the moment.
That's right. I'm sure our listeners know that it's been in all the newspapers, it's been on the TV, that Central Coast rentals have really dried up with the COVID sort of explosion. And you can testify that that's true. There's nothing, is there?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you faced the extra difficulty, really, that you were telling me earlier, that you didn't have a rental sort of record that you could come to.
I'd either be at my parents' house or couch surfing, living in my car. I could never pay rent before.
So when landlords are faced with a choice of Michael, who's got no rental sort of history to point to, or Joe Bloggs, who's 12-month, 2-year perfect rental history, they're going to choose Joe Bloggs, I'm afraid, aren't they?
Yep.
Yeah. So you had no joy whatsoever?
No.
And did you feel really discouraged? I mean, 20 rejections, you start to take it personally after a while, do you?
Yeah, a little bit. It was hard, but I'm just grateful for what Salvo's done for me.
That's right, because at least you were in that transitional house, so you had support around you, and you could talk over the issues with your caseworker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They helped me out heaps.
Yeah. But you've moved on from that transitional house. You're now at Sealer, you were telling us.
Yeah, Sealer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is again part of the extended care of.
Yep.
Yeah. And you said you were a caretaker rather than a caretaker. So you're out at Sealer. It's called Sealer Farm, isn't it?
Yep.
It's not a farm, is it? Or is it?
No, it's just a really nice property.
Really nice. Yeah. So you don't have to plough the fields and scatter the weeds and everything. No. How many people are there, Michael?
We've got 2 others at the moment.
Yeah.
And hopefully getting more people coming in.
So they can take, what's their sort of maximum?
6 people.
6 people.
Yeah.
And you are providing some care for them. You're the caretaker. You take care of them. What does that involve?
I've just got to check in with them all the time, either in person or over the phone.
Yeah.
Just make sure they're safe. If they're feeling triggered or anything like that, just get them to give me a call, which is an important thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I make the beds up and rooms up when someone new comes in.
Right.
Make them feel welcome.
Yeah. So you generally are looking after them and looking perhaps for warning signs that they're slipping in some way.
Yeah.
What would those warning signs look like?
Just not much contact or communication, I mean.
Going out all day and not telling you where they're going and things like that. Yeah. And then coming back later, or staying out overnight would be a warning sign, I think.
Yeah, they just got to let me know.
Yeah.
So I know when they're coming back and where they're going, And
then if you have genuine concerns for them, you can call Dooralong and they'll come and sort of provide the professional support that they need. Yeah. So how long have you been at Sealer Farm?
Been there nearly, probably 4 months now.
Right. So you were at Dooralong for 7 months.
Yep.
You're at the transitional house for
Dooralong 8 months. And I went to a different house.
Yeah.
And we had to move to Sealer Farm. Yeah.
Right. So all in all, you've been in the, I won't say the care of the Salvos, but you've been journeying with the Salvos for well over a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're almost a local, Michael.
Yeah.
I know you come from Wollongong, but you've been here so long that
now I need to start a new life up here.
Is that what you would like to do?
Yep. Have a big connection with Dooralong, Salvos.
Yeah.
I just people, places and things, I can't go back home.
Well, yeah. I was just gonna ask you, and I hope it's not a rude question, but why aren't you going back to home? Why aren't you going back to Wollongong?
It's pretty much where it all started. If I hang around people using drugs or drinking, I can be at risk, and it's only that one that's gonna take me back to my old life.
So you have to be quite strict. You've really got to take those friends out of your life, haven't you?
Yeah.
And probably they weren't really true friends anyway, were they?
Yeah, I know they've got a lot, what they've been through and stuff like that, but
true.
I can't. Yeah,
it's not for us to judge them, is it? But you just got to look after yourself.
I'm powerless over, people.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
Yeah. So you think the safest thing to do is to sort of keep yourself out of temptation's way and put down new roots here on the Central Coast.
Yeah.
With a new set of friends and the beautiful support from Dooralong and the Salvos.
That's right, yeah. They saved me life.
Yeah. That's great to hear. Telling us about this sort of aftercare program that he is on, the Dooralong Transformation Centre. But that can't go on forever, Michael. You must have plans to sort of strike out on your own at some stage.
Yep.
What sort of employment are you looking for?
I did a diesel plant mechanic trade, so something into to do with the mines, maybe, or a truck driver. I'd like to be a truck driver, get my truck licence.
Okay. Well, if any of our listeners know of any vacancies, get in touch with us. But diesel motors and things like that, diesel mechanics and things like that. That's what you're looking for. And of course, the number one priority for you is finding a rental property to live in.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully when COVID has settled down a little bit, there will be more properties to rent here on the Central Coast.
That's right, yeah.
But you're safe at the moment anyway. The Salvos are doing the right thing and looking after you.
Thanks to them,
Yeah. And you're putting a bit back because you're acting as that caretaker for the other people in the property.
Yep.
It's not far off Christmas, Michael. I don't know how many days it is. It's not that many days. Where will you be spending Christmas?
Just at the families, enjoying spending time with them.
Yeah, this is mum, dad and the extended family down in Wollongong.
Yeah, my nephews, cousins, and my whole family. A lot of food.
A lot of food, a lot of fun.
A lot of food, a lot of fun.
Christmases haven't always, you were telling me off air that Christmases haven't always been a lot of food and a lot of fun for you, have they?
No.
You were telling me that sometimes you deliberately didn't go to your mum and dad's for Christmas.
Yeah, I'd take off to go use drugs and didn't really care.
So mum and dad would invite you over?
Well, I'd be at their house, and before anyone come, I'd take off and go on a bender, or wouldn't come home for a week.
Yeah. So you'd leave to do drugs, alcohol, or whatever it might have been.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you were telling me that your mum would be frantically ringing you, but you would turn the phone off.
Yeah, turn the phone off. Made me feel really bad, the shame and guilt, but
yeah. So this Christmas is going to be pretty special to you, isn't it?
That's right. Yep.
You've got some new nephews in the family.
Yeah, 2 nephews.
2 little baby boys.
I go down Wollongong, see them every week.
Yeah.
Got a connection with them now, which is good.
Yeah.
An uncle, yeah.
Yeah, Uncle Michael. You're going to have to be a good role model for them. You're going to have to buy them a present as well, Michael. Yeah, but that's nice, isn't it? That it's nice to get back into the embrace of the family and feel that, there are people there for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. Look, Michael, it's been really good talking to you this morning. Thanks for doing what you're doing and providing that aftercare for those people in that transitional place from Dooralong. We just hope, we just pray that, that God will have a rental property for you, and he will have a job for you that enables you to stay here on the Central Coast where you want to put down roots and stay. He's had his hand on your shoulder for the last 18 months, 2 years, hasn't he? So
15 months.
15 months.
Yeah.
He's not going to forget you now, I don't think.
Yeah.
So timing is his, but I'm sure he's got plans for you.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you still go to the chapel every Wednesday?
Every Wednesday, yeah.
You'll be there tonight?
Yep, sure.
You won't be singing there?
No singing.
Yeah, nice roast meal, but that must be really hard for the guys not to sing at Dooralong, because that was such a big part of your chapel night, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Huge. I mean, loud and powerful and passionate singing, but now you're just humming along, are you?
Yeah, hopefully it'll all come good.
Yeah, hopefully it will all come good. In God's good time and with God's grace, it'll all come good. Thanks so much, Michael. We've really enjoyed it, and we just pray God's blessing on you, your family, and the future.
You've been listening to an encore presentation of the Dooralong stories, which can be heard live every Wednesday at 10 a.m. and repeated 8 p.m. Sunday and 1 a.m. Wednesday, right here on 94.9 rema.cc.